So in this class we will continue with our ninth chapter that is the unit of life. So in this unit of life we have been from starting class we have been discussing about that how life being is originated, whether it may be in case of a plant cell, it may be in case of an animal cell, or it may be in case of a human cell. Of a cell నుండి ఒక life అనేది ఎలా exist అవుతుంది. So how the life is going on, what is the growth process that is taking place in this certain type of a life. So in that we already discussed about the cells, who discovered the cell theories, different types of cell theories, and we also discussed about the various types of scientists and their discoveries, the books written by them, and we discussed about two types of cells, that is a prokaryotic cell as well as the eukaryotic cell. Under prokaryotic cell we read about the bacteria, and under the eukaryotic cell we read about the plant cell as well as animal cell. Even plant cell and animal cells differ in the presence and absence of a cell wall. Plant cell no, there will be the presence of cell wall, and in the animal cell there will be absence of the cell wall. So this is all about the plant cell as well as the animal cell. So if you take this into consideration, what exactly happens is plant cell consists of plastids or chloroplast, which I have already explained in a previous class. And coming to the animal cells contain some amount of cell organelles called as centrioles. Centrioles అనేవి ఉంటాయి. మిగతా అన్ని సెల్ ఆర్గనల్స్ కూడా అన్ని సేమ్ ఏవైతే ప్లాంట్ సెల్లో ఉంటాయో అవే యానిమల్ సెల్లో కూడా ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. సో ఇఫ్ యూ టేక్ దట్ ఇన్ ద ప్రీవియస్ క్లాస్ ఐ హావ్ స్టార్టెడ్ అవర్ డిస్కషన్ విత్ endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus or Golgi vesicles, lysosomes, mitochondria, chloroplast, etc. So now we will move on to the next important cell organelle called as nucleus. Nucleus. This concept of nucleus was being given by a scientist named Robert Hooke. This nucleus, sorry, it's Robert Brown. Robert Hooke is the scientist who proposed the cell. Okay? And Robert Brown was the scientist who discovered about the nucleus in the year 1831. In the year 1831. And he explained that this nucleus is a spherical ball-like double membranous cell organelle. This is spherical ball-like structure and it is round in shape, and it is having the two membranes which controls and coordinates the life activities of the cell, and this nucleus is called as a dynamic center of the cell. This is also called as the dynamic center of the cell. So why it is called as dynamic center or master cell organelle? Why? Because this is a nucleus or nucleic acid. It contains a genetic material. In the genetic material, whether it can be a DNA or it can be RNA, this is considered as dynamic center of cell or master cell organelle, and it helps in heredity and transmission of characters. So if they will help out with the main principle, it helps for heredity. Heredity is nothing but the transforming of characters from parents to offsprings. If I am there, if any character resembles to my father when be transmitted to me, so that is called as inheritance or heredity. Transmission ante parents నుండి మనకి ఏదైనా character transmit అయినప్పుడు దాన్ని మనం అలా అంటున్నాము. Okay? And this nucleus, it can be a monokaryotic and it can also be a dikaryotic. Monokaryotic, karyokinesis, karyotic, karyotype. ఇవంతా ఏదన్నా కూడా nothing but a nucleus అని అంటారు. So it can be a monokaryotic as well as dikaryotic. Monokaryotic is nothing but it has only one nucleus, and dikaryotic is nothing but it has two nucleus in its structure. And there is some other type of a nucleus called as multinucleated. Multinucleated and the cells which have many nucleus. Cells లో ఎక్కువ number of nucleus ఉంటే దాన్ని మనం multinucleated అని అంటున్నాం. And N-nucleate ante nothing but the cell without any nucleus. Okay, so now I will discuss about the nucleus structure. See, if you assume as I said, it is a spherical like structure. So this is the structure of a nucleus. So if you assume this is the structure of a nucleus, it will appear in this way. Okay. So this entire inner fluid, is called as a nuclear matrix. Entire inner fluid is called as a nuclear matrix, and this is called as a nuclear membrane. This is called as a nuclear membrane, and there is an outer membrane and inner membrane. Okay, and inside there is small light structure. This structure is called as a nucleolus, and there will be, this is called as a genetic material. It can be a DNA or it can be an RNA. Chromosomes, chromatin matter, chromonemata, telomeres, ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఇక్కడనే ఉంటాయి. So this is all about the nucleus, and at the stage of an interphase stage lo, interphase ante enti, the stage of the cell when it is non-dividing, where the cell is non-dividing, that stage is called as an interphase. And nucleus, at the stage of an interphase, it shows 4 parts. Any parts which it shows mainly 4 parts. So what are they? The first one is the nuclear membrane, second one is the nucleoplasm, third one is the nucleolus, and the fourth one is the chromatin matter. So first, if you take this nuclear membrane, it is an outermost covering of the nucleus. Our nucleus ni adi baita nundi protection istundi. So that is nothing but a nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane also has an outer membrane as well as an inner membrane. That's why this nuclear membrane is also called as a unit membrane. And then the space between an outer membrane and inner membrane of the nucleus is called as perinuclear space. And there are certain pores. Pores and the chinna small holes and structures ఉంటాయి. That pores are called as nuclear pores, through which a movement of materials occur between the cytoplasm and nucleus. ఈ న్యూక్లియస్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది? సైటోప్లాజంలోనే ఉంటుంది. సైటోప్లాజంలో ఉన్న ఏమైనా మెటీరియల్స్ దీని లోపలికి వెళ్ళడానికి, దీనిలో ఉన్నాయి బయటికి సైటోప్లాజంలోకి రావడానికి ఈ స్మాల్ పోర్స్ అనేటువంటివి ఉపయోగపడతాయి. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ ద nucleoplasm or nuclear matrix. This matrix. So this matrix contains certain types of nucleoproteins. The nucleoproteins ఉంటాయి, nucleoenzymes ఉంటాయి. దానికి కావాల్సిన ఎంజైమ్స్ కానీ ప్రోటీన్స్ కానీ DNA synthesis కి అవన్నీ కూడా ఈ nucleoplasm లో ఉంటాయి. And if you take this nucleolus is a spherical structure that is present in this inside cellular fluid, and it helps in the synthesis of RNA, ribosomal RNA ki. It helps in the synthesis of ribosomal RNA, means rRNA. Okay. Chromatin matter ante it contains chromosomes, basic histones, proteins, ivanni untayi. The main important function of this nucleus is it controls and coordinates the dynamic life activities, and it helps in hereditary, and it also helps in the process of reproduction kuda upayogapడుతుంది. So this is all about the nucleus, and now we will move on to our next most important cell organelle, that is chromosomes. That is a chromosome. So chromosomes are nothing but the darkly stained thick rod-like structures that are developing from a chromatin during cell division. See, in order to life and survival, the growth is the major important thing that should be occur in this life. So how the growth is being caused? So the growth is being caused due to the cell division. ఒక సెల్ కాస్త ఇంకొక సెల్ లాగా డివైడ్ అయినప్పుడు, one cell gives rise to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, అలా సెల్స్ అనేటువంటివి డివైడ్ అయినప్పుడు, when the cells increase in their size and number, that results in the process of growth. సో అలా గ్రోత్ జరిగినప్పుడు మనకి నార్మల్గా సెల్ డివిజన్ అనేది జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. If there is a 2 cells, one cell gives rise to 2 cells, 2 cells to 4, 4 to 8. So itla cells అన్ని కూడా డివైడ్ అవుతూ ఉంటాయి. So in this way cell division occurs. So during the cell division, along tubular thread-like extensions which are rod-shaped and duct-shaped structures, chromosomes అని chromosome, and this chromosomes concept was first absorbed by the scientist Hofmeister. Who was the scientist here? Hofmeister in pollen mother cells. In what he had observed? In pollen mother cells. In case of Tradescantia. Tradescantia is nothing but a plant. ఆ ప్లాంట్లో ఉన్న pollen mother cells లో first chromosomes అనేటువంటివి అబ్జర్వ్ చేయడం జరిగింది by the scientist of Meister. And the term chromosome was coined by the scientist Waldeyer. Term chromosome was coined by the scientist Waldeyer, and chromosomes are nothing but the physical basis of heredity. Chromosomes transform అయినప్పుడు కూడా ఒక మనిషికి కావాల్సిన క్యారెక్టర్ అనేది ప్రొడ్యూస్ అవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. For example, female contains XX chromosomes and male containing XY chromosomes. So if you see, this is the symbol of a female and this is the symbol of a male. As I said, female contains an XX chromosome, male contains an XY chromosome, and from female there will be an X chromosome coming, and from male there will be an X chromosome as well as Y chromosome that is coming. So these gametes when fused together, so XX, XY, this will result in the formation of a female, and this will result in the formation of a male. Okay, so the chromosomes transform the process of or follow the process of heredity. The heredity process ni follow cheyadam jarugutundi. Okay, so this is about the chromosomes, and if you take the size and shape, if this chromosomal theory translates from one generation to other generation, that theory is being explained or called as chromosomal theory of inheritance. Metaphase chromosome consists of 5 parts. It is a primary constriction, centromere. Primary constriction is nothing but centromere. There will be a secondary constriction. There will be telomeres. There will be chromatin fibers, etc. So the 5 main parts of a chromosome. So how the chromosome structure will appear? It appears in this way. So the central heterochromatin thick part is called as a centromere. The centromere is nothing but a primary constriction, and this one are called as secondary constriction. And then the end part, the end part lo unnavi manam telomeres ani antunnamu. So these end parts are called as a telomeres. So there will be a satellite DNA at the end part of this chromosome. So these are called as a chromatin fibers. And around these chromosomes, the DNA is being coiled up. So there are different types of satellites, telomeres, and there will be a presence of chromonemata. Chromonemata is internal bead-like structures. In the internal, ఈ bead-like structures ఎప్పుడైతే DNA అనేది coil అవుతుందో, so this is called as a chromonemata. Okay, so each chromosome, normally each chromosome consisting of 2 spirals of DNA. Each and every chromosomes ki 2 spirals of DNA ka అది చుట్టుకొని ఉంటుంది. Okay, and the string called as a nucleosome. మనం ఎప్పుడైతే chromosome ని nucleosome అని అంటున్నామంటే, see, if suppose this is a chromosome, nucleosome. So nucleosome is nothing but here there will be this bead-like structure is called as an histone protein. It is basic in nature. When this bead-like histone protein is coiled with the DNA, so this model is altogether called as a nucleosome. So DNA is being binded with some sort of a basic histone proteins. So that basic histone proteins are nothing but those are alkaline in nature, and because we are saying that they are basic because the presence of basic amino acids like lysine, arginine, histidine and amino acids వాటిలో ఉండడం వల్ల అవి basic nature ని చూపిస్తాయి. And here we are calling this histone as an octamer. What we are calling this histone beads as an octamer. Basically this histone proteins is made up of 5 types of histone proteins are present. The 5 types are H1, H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. So totally there are 5 types of basic histone proteins as present. Among these 5 types, this H1 acts as a linker DNA. It links up the DNA with the basic histone protein molecule. Okay, and this 4, other 4, what are they? H2A, H2B, H3 and H4, they are available or they are present in 2 copies. So there will be 2 H2A, 2 H2B, 2 H3, 2 H4. So altogether 8. So 8 unnai kabatti we are calling it as an octamer. We are calling it as an octamer. So how there will be arrangement? Total there should be 8, right? So there will be H2B, H2B, H2A, H2A, H3, H3, H4, H4. So like this arrangement will be present, and there will be a DNA, 2 spirals of DNA that is coiled along with this histone protein. So this type of arrangement is called as an nucleosome model. This type of arrangement is called as a nucleosome model. Okay, and the DNA which links up this nucleosome into another nucleosome is called as linker DNA, and that linker DNA is mainly functional due to the presence of an basic histone protein, that is H1, and based on the position of the centromer, these chromosomes are divided into 4 types, that is metacentric, submetacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric and telocentric. So what are the 4 types of chromosomal arrangements based on the centromer? Those are divided into 4 types, that is metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric and telocentric. So first, if you discuss about the metacentric, in metacentric the chromosomes in the centromer is present in the center of the chromosomes. Chromosome lo unna centromer edaithe undo adi kasta center lo untundi. It is in the center and it divides this chromosome into 2 equal arms. Idi 2 equal arms ga divide chestundi ila. Like all the 4 arms are there, then 4 arms will be equal in their size or equal in their length, and it appears in a shape called V. So V shape lo appear ayi untayi. So that is all about the metacentric. And if you see about the submetacentric, in this the centromer is slightly away from the center of the chromosome. See, here is the centromer. So here arrangement, it appears like this. So it gives an L shape appearance. And the L shape appearance lo kanipistundi. So that type of arrangement is called as submetacentric arrangement. And if you move on to the next type, that is an acrocentric. In this acrocentric, centromer is moved towards one end. Centromer anta oka vaipu vellipotundi and the arms are very short. So if you see this type of arrangement, centromer is moved to the upper side, the arms are very short. One arm is very short and the other arm is very long. Okay, and if you see this telocentric. So if you see this telocentric, in this telocentric it is present at the tip. At the tip, and it appears in the shape of an I shape. I shape lo kanipistundi. So this is all about the chromosome. So till now we have done with endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi vesicles, lysosomes, mitochondria, chloroplast, nucleus, chromosomes, and now we will discuss about the flagella or cilia. Now we will discuss about the flagella as well as cilia. So these flagellas are nothing but a hair-like outgrowth of a plasma membrane. Plasma membrane బయట నుండి hair-like projections, hair-like outgrowths అనేటువంటివి బయటికి వస్తుంటాయి. వాటిని మనం flagella అని అంటున్నాం. And the main function of flagella is to perform a locomotion. So what is the main function of it? Is to perform a locomotion. Locomotion is nothing but a type of a movement. Motility, a type of a movement or motility. అది ఇక్కడ నుండి అక్కడికి వెళ్ళడానికి ఏదైనా అది స్పోర్ అయి ఉండొచ్చు. It can be a bacteria, it can be any paramecium, it can be any plant spore, anything which has flagella, it will automatically move. The main function, if అక్కడ flagella ఉంది అంటే, that is nothing but that spore or that organism is having a మూమెంట్ ఆఫ్ మొటిలిటీ అంటే అది ఇక్కడ నుండి అక్కడికి అక్కడ నుండి ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళేది ఉంటుంది. సో ఇట్ హెల్ప్స్ ఇన్ ద మెయిన్ బేసిక్ ఫంక్షన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ హెల్ప్స్ ఇన్ అ locomotion. And cilia are also a types of flagella, but when compared to flagella, the cilia are somewhat shorter in their size. So the cilia are shorter in their size when compared to the flagella. An electron microscope structure of flagellum and cilia showed that there will be a covering of a plasma membrane around a core called as an axial filament. Apart from the plasma membrane, there will be an outer covering, one core-like complex. That complex is called as an axial filament or axonema. And this axonema or axial filament consists some amount of microtubules. So it consists of some amount of what? Microtubules. These microtubules are made up of a protein called tubulin. What type of a protein they are made up of? They are made up of a protein called as a tubulin. And this axoneme or axial filament edaithe undo, it consists of 9 pairs of microtubules called doublets. 9 pairs of microtubules ఉంటుంది, వాటిని మనం doublets లాగా arrange అయి ఉంటాయి. For example, if I draw that structure, see this is a one pair of microtubule, this is another pair of microtubule, this is another pair, like this there will be 9. 1, 2, 3. So total there are 9 pair of microtubules that are arranged in the doublet. So they are arranged in this way. Each axoneme, ప్రతి ఒక్క axoneme దగ్గర axoneme filament దగ్గర there are certain microtubules. So these microtubules are made up of a protein called as a tubulin. Okay, and apart from this 9, two central microtubules are present. Central lo mali doublets lo mali 2 microtubules అనేవి ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. This is the shape and arrangement of flagella. And if there are singlets అంటే single గా arrange అయి ఉంటాయి. Central singlets are surrounded by an inner sheath and connected by a bridges. So these are nothing but the bridge which connects one flagella to the another flagella. So these are nothing but a bridge. So singlets అన్ని కూడా ఆ bridges రూపంలో అవి ఒకదానికొకటి కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. Okay, so this is all about the flagella. And each peripheral doublet consists 2 microtubules. దాన్ని మనం alpha tubule or beta tubule ni అంటాం. Alpha tubule or beta tubule. This alpha tubule is also called as A tubule. Beta tubule is also called as B tubule. So it is very small and it is complete, and it is large and incomplete, and it consists of some sort of ఈ యొక్క ట్యూబ్యూల్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో ఒకదానికొకటి ఈ డ్యూప్లెక్స్ ద్వారా మనకి కనబడుతుంది. దే షుడ్ బి కనెక్టింగ్, అండ్ దోస్ ఆర్ మేడ్ అప్ ఆఫ్ సర్టెన్ ఫైబర్స్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ dynein fibers. Dynein fibers తో అవి మేడ్ అప్ అయి ఉంటాయి. So this is all about the flagella. Now we will discuss about the centrosome and centrioles. What are the centrosomes and what are centrioles? Centrosomes and centrioles. So if you take this centrosome is a cell organelle that helps in the development of flagella or cilia. So what is this centrosome? Mainly it helps in the development. For what development? It helps in the development of flagella or cilia. And it consists of 2 cylindrical centrioles, which is also called as a basal granules. This centrosome consists of 2 typical types of cylindrical basal granules. That basal granules are called as a centrioles. Evaithe basal granules unnayo aa yokka basal granules unnayo those are called as a centrioles. Okay, and each centriole consists of 9 peripheral triplets of microtubules called as A, B, C from center to periphery. మనకి ఎలా అయితే flagella లో 9 microtubules doublets ఉన్నాయో ఇక్కడ triplets అనేటువంటివి ఉంటాయి. And this triplet in a centriole becomes doublet in axoneme. ఏదైతే centriole లో ఉన్నప్పుడు అది triplet లో ఎలా ఉంటుందో అది flagella కి వెళ్ళేసరికి అది కాస్త doublet లోకి మారిపోతూ ఉంటుంది. And in the center these microtubules are absent and the core is proteinaceous. So microtubule అనేది absent ఉంటుంది center లో. So the core total, the inside core is totally proteinaceous, and that proteinaceous core is called as an hub. That is called as an hub. And eukaryotic flagella shows an arrangement of 9+2 configuration ఉన్న arrangement ని చూపిస్తుంది. ఎలా అయితే మనకి బయట 9 microtubules అరేంజ్ అయ్యాయో అండ్ సెంటర్ లో 2 microtubules doublets లాగా ఎలా అరేంజ్ అయ్యాయో దాన్ని బట్టి this eukaryotic flagella shows 9+2 configuration of arrangement. And prokaryotic వచ్చేసరికి it shows 9+0. 9+0 అంటే as I said, in the center there will not be any presence of microtubules. The inside core, ఆ లోపల ఉన్న core అంతా కూడా it is proteinaceous in nature, and there is no core present and there is no microtubules present inside that structure. So that's why it is showing a 9+0 arrangement. So this is all about the centrosome as well as the centriole. And now we will move on to the next important cell organelle called as ribosomes. So the ribosomes basic function is they help in the basic function of a protein synthesis. For what they will help? They help in a process of protein synthesis. Our protein synthesis ki help avadam jarugutundi. So these ribosomes are granular, which are made up of ribonucleoproteinaceous membraneless cell organelle. And the concept of this ribosomes was given by a scientist, George Calais. Who was the scientist? George Calais in the year 1953. So he was a scientist who first gave the contribution to this ribosomes, and these ribosomes occur in both prokaryotic as well as the eukaryotic cells, and these ribosomes are called as a universal cell organelles. What are these are called? Universal cell organelles. Okay, and this composed of RNA and proteins. Ribosomes are made up of, are composed of RNA and proteins. Two types of structures in ribosomes known, and these ribosomes help in the process of helps in the process of protein synthesis. So if you take, this is the structure of a ribosomes. Ribosome structure consists of two types of a unit. One is a smaller subunit. This is a smaller subunit, and this is a larger subunit. It is a smaller subunit and it is a larger subunit. Okay, so two subunits are there. So this is called as an A site, and in the larger subunit, the smaller subunit to larger subunit, two subunits are there. In this larger subunit, there will be having two sites. In this larger subunit, it bears two sites. One site is called as an A site, and the other site is called as a P site. One site is called as an A site and the other one is a P site. This A site is nothing but an acylation site. Acetylation అనేది ఇక్కడ జరుగుతుంది. During the process of protein synthesis, మనం ఒక ప్రోటీన్ ని సింథసైజ్ చేయాలి అంటే that protein ఈ యొక్క tRNA దగ్గర ఈ రైబోసోమల్ దగ్గర అమైనో యాసిడ్ వచ్చి అక్కడ యాక్ట్ చేయాలి, ఇక్కడ వచ్చి అతుక్కుంటుంది. It should acylate itself to the formation of protein. So that is called as an acylation. And P site is nothing but a peptidyl site. Peptidyl site. So the proteins, amino acids madhyalo ఏ bond ఉంటుంది? There will be a presence of peptide bond. This peptidyl site consists of an enzyme called as an peptidyl transferase, which helps in lining two amino acids to bond between them to form a peptide bond. ఒక peptide bond form అవడానికి ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. And based on the sedimentation coefficient that is being expressed in a Swedberg's unit. Swedberg's unit, based on that sedimentation coefficient, ribosomes are of two types. Ribosomes are of two types, 70S and 80S type. So it is a sedimentation coefficient or Swedberg's unit. So under this 70S and 80S type, the 70S type is usually seen in a prokaryotes. Prokaryotic cell lo ఇది కనిపిస్తుంది, and the smaller subunit of 70S is a 30S and larger subunit is 50S.
And coming to this 80S, it is seen in the eukaryotic cells. Coming to the smaller subunit 40S and larger subunit, it is a 60S type. And here S stands for sedimentation coefficient. And a group of ribosomes that are present in mRNA are called as polyribosomes. And coming to the main important functions of these ribosomes provide and space and enzyme synthesis. They provide space for the enzyme synthesis. ఇక్కడ protein synthesis అనేది జరగాలి కాబట్టి protein synthesis కావాల్సిన enzymes అన్నీ కూడా ఈ ribosomes లో synthesize అవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. Coming to the microsomes, microbodies, those are considered the smaller ciliar membranes which includes peroxisomes and glyoxysomes. So peroxisomes are nothing but those which catalyzes a peroxidase enzymes. And these ribosomes helps in the synthesis of the phospholipids and they also protect the cells from toxic effects. Toxic effect ద్వారా కూడా అవి ప్రొటెక్ట్ చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. And last there will be one major important cell organelle that is called as a cytoskeleton. This cytoskeleton is nothing but a network of proteinaceous filaments and tubules which consists of intermediate filaments ఉంటాయి, microtubules ఉంటాయి, microfilaments ఉంటాయి. And this cytoskeleton is made. Cytoskeleton provides a mechanical strength and support to the cell. ఎప్పుడైతే ఒక సెల్ ఇవన్నిటితో మీద పడుతుందో దానికి కరెక్ట్ మెకానికల్ స్ట్రెంగ్త్ ఇంకా సపోర్ట్ అనేది ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. So with this we have done with our 9th chapter, that is unit of light, and we are left over with our 10th, 11th and 13th chapters in our journey. So in this chapter mainly we discussed about the what do you mean by a cell, who discovered cell, we discussed about the postulates of cell theory, and we also discussed about two types of cells, that is a prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. In the prokaryotic cell we discussed about bacteria, and the eukaryotic cell we discussed about the plant cells and animal cells. What are the differences between a plant cell and animal cell, and what is the major difference, major types of cell organelles that are present. So till now we have done our discussion with the different types of cell organelles, starting from endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosomes, mitochondria, vacuoles, chloroplast, nucleus, chromosomes, centrioles, chromotomata, ribosomes, flagella, cilia, centrioles. Okay, so this is all about the type of a cell organelles, and the next class will begin with our next chapter.